You see that?
I didn't.
Okay.
We are live though, according to
We're live.
according to
That counter's going off. I haven't heard from standards and practices yet, though.
yeah. I'm
Those usually
surprised.
chime in at any time.
Oh,
That counter's going off.
I need to. There we go.
We have
Give
an
it up.
echo.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just letting the stream deck know that we're live, so we can let everyone know out there in the Twitter sphere
Twitter sphere.
that we are live.
Hello,
Yeah,
all you iNDIEVOLT radio listeners.
yeah. We are now live on IndieVolt Radio. We are live everywhere, even on Twitch. Hello, Twitchers.
Tell your friends, you out there in iNDIEVOLT radio land, we want to break that 4-figure number tonight.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know if people saw it, but I had an opportunity to look at my numbers, and I saw where we did very well in terms of people listening to the radio show, people just really being, supportive of the IndieVolt TV, IndieVolt radio apps. So our numbers are really high, and you don't see it all the time on YouTube. But when I sat back and I looked at how many installs we had of IndieVolt TV
Mm-hmm.
on our Roku, and how
Yeah.
many listeners we have from all over. Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Sim in the house. Hey,
Yeah.
Sim. Simon, how you doing? Hope you're
It-
doing
it-
well.
It's one of those things that really it kind of, well, for one, it had me living like an idiot, because I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of people that could possibly hear me. And it's really cool though. It's really cool, and I want to thank everybody who's been sticking in there with us and checking out IndieVolt TV, IndieVolt Radio, IndieVolt.com, as well as IndieVolt Live here on YouTube
Yep.
and Twitch.
And if you're listening on the YouTube and can give us a like, give us a like.
Yep, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. It all helps. It all helps.
Feel free to pop into the comment section.
Mm-hmm. Randy, we got some stuff to talk about. We got some questions.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, some questions that were from Attack of the Z Nation, I like to call it.
Z Nation.
Yeah, the Z Nation.
Which Z Nation is that? Isn't that a zombie world?
And it is, but these are. I'm convinced people with Z's in their name like you might be a little crazy.
Oh, you're getting a lot of Z's writing in, huh?
Yeah, a lot of Z's writing in. So we're gonna tackle those questions. We got some fantastic guests tonight. We got Art Tavarez, and as well as Steve. I can't pronounce Steve's last name. Oh crap! It'll come. But he's gonna be on the show, so he'll be able to tell us.
He can
And
pronounce his own name for us.
that's right. And as well as Michael Beacon from Seven Legions will be joining us. He's got a Indiegogo campaign going right now.
Legions, yeah.
Yeah,
Unlike DC, I think they're on like their 10th Legion. I don't know. Seems
and
that way. Every time they change universes, they put up a new Legion.
yeah.
Hey, Ralph. How you doing, bud? Good to see you.
So let's before we're gonna roll the intro. Before we do that, Randy, let's have Lola say hello to Mr. Perez.
Is Lola going to say hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello.
There we go. All right, so then I'm gonna roll the intro and we can get the show started, sir. As soon as I find it. There it is. All
There it
right.
Okay.
Fun times, fun times.
Fun times.
Yeah, we're
It's another Tuesday night.
it is, and I always forget that it's Tuesday night, and I think that I have to like record and do this show on Mondays. And I'm always shut. Oh wait a minute, no, I don't. I'm good.
It's not until tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We should probably introduce ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that in just 1 second. Sorry, I had to send out the link that we're live to one other place, and we'll see how that works for us. Oops. Yeah. I hate my computer some days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mine too. Mine just started making a weird noise.
yeah.
That was odd. Anyway.
So everyone, hello. My name is Varian Grant. I'm the co-owner and have been for the last 7 years of Last Call Comics and founder of IndieVolt Media LLC. I got my start making comics way back in 2008. 2008. Wow, were we still on MySpace? I think we still have MySpace accounts.
2008. Such a
Yeah,
long time ago.
yeah, yeah. My first book ever that I ever published was a black and white interior action comedy called Psycho Sirens. I am a father, a husband, a geek, a creator, a publisher, a reluctant taxpayer, and artist. Shamefully not in that order. And you're watching IndieVolt Live. Tonight I'm joined by, as always, Lola. Lola, there's her wave, patting the wave.
Lola.
And Mr.
The
Randy.
perfect present. Hey, everybody, I'm Randy Zimmerman. How you doing? You can call me Zim. I do the Zim Geek channel over on YouTube. I am an independent and alternative comics publisher for probably longer than most of you have been alive. So, Arrow Comics, Massive Comics, Weeby Comics, I published under. About the last decade, I've been doing my own independent comics newspaper. We were circulating around the Flint and Genesee County area with all sorts of comic strips and comic stories and entertainment articles. But now I'm back into the looking at the comic scene, especially now that the crowdfunding has kicked up, and I'm doing the Zim Geek YouTube channel, and I'm here at IndieVolt. And I've been around, done a lot of things, done just about everything inside the direct market that you can imagine, and am also an award-winning commercial and graphic artist.
Excellent. Award-winning. Don't forget, he was on Treehouse Masters.
Award-winning, yes.
And television. And another movie. I forgot the other movie.
American Scream was the other
American
film.
Scream, yeah.
So I was on there for like 10 seconds, a little longer than I was on Treehouse Masters. But Treehouse Masters has a whole half hour of my work under Nature's Superheroes.
So we're getting ready to go live. We'll bring our guest in. I'm giving them a chance everyone to acclimate.
To prep up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael's back there doing his stretches.
That's right.
Don't fall off your chair. Don't fall off your chair. Oh, there he goes.
Hello, guys.
Hi there.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey.
We're going to need some introductions.
That's right. We'll let...
wait a minute. First, though, before we do that, let's welcome you.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Thanks for coming.
'Tis the season for Die Hard.
Tis the season, indeed.
It is. So, Art and Steve, you guys were the first to get here, so you guys go first, and then Michael, you can introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Ryan Tavarez of Attack of the Rivals. I am a writer, artist, graphic designer, and just overall comics enthusiast.
Steve Kuerbitz, also writer with Attack of the Rivals, also comics enthusiast.
So how long have you been reading comics? What's your first comic that you remember reading?
Ryan and I were just talking about this a little while ago. I can remember being a little kid in like 3rd or 4th grade and checking out like Gary Larson Fireside books in the library and just like getting in trouble because I was reading those instead of working on like my math worksheet or whatever it was I was supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And for me, I similar to Steve, grew up getting like comics out of the library. I thought it was so cool, Calvin and Hobbes. But I also had an older cousin who was reading a lot of the Image comics at the time. I vividly remember like a Wolverine comic. I can't remember the name of it, but it just blew my mind because I knew the X-Men cartoon on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the Batman and Spawn crossover book. I remember that very distinctly.
Oh yeah.
Just being a little kid, I was probably like 5 or 6 at that time.
I remember my dad and a lot of his friends being super into Spawn back in that era. Like they had the posters, books, all that stuff. Like the special, never take it out of its package, action figures, all that stuff.
Those great McFarlane toys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now you're really making me feel old.
And we have Michael Beacon with us. Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the writer of 7 Legions and also the colorist, and I'm colorist on Cyborg USA and Dusty Tortillas. And yeah, I got a YouTube channel where I do SJW Skeletor reviews. And I'm kind of trying to branch out on that. Probably next year I'll start doing that. But,
SJW what reviews?
SJW Skeletor reviews.
Oh, okay.
I just act offended about indie comics and give little overviews of them.
Gotcha.
With the Skeletor voice.
Yep.
That's cool.
And I'm going to branch out to a few other characters too. It's going to be great.
I didn't realize. Speaking of He-Man, I gotta tell you guys, I wish I had to act like. You ever been out geek and you know it, and you have to act like, oh yeah, man, it's common knowledge. Everybody knows that. And you're like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, we were talking about He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and he's like, yeah, Teela is Teela, her man in arms is her adopted dad. It's not her real father. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And he's like, yeah, because the sorceress is her real mother. And I'm like, check Google for this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Even though I do SJW Skeletor, I don't know anything about He-Man aside from the fact that my brother had all the toys.
I think you just out geeked us.
Yeah.
Well, see, now I can raise my clout a little bit.
There you
So
go.
guys, I don't know if you've watched the show, but
What?
we answered.
So are you saying that Skeletor was before your time?
I'm
A
saying
little
he's a little old. Might even be a boomer. I don't know.
I'm really, really feeling old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the days, the wonderful 80s.
I watched a documentary the other night about Popeye the Sailor Man, Randy.
There you go.
Found out that the lady who did Olive Oil's voice did his voice for one cartoon.
Oh yeah. There were a lot of Popeye cartoons though.
Yeah.
If you haven't picked up Gary from Down Under on YouTube, he does some really good evolution cartoons, evolution paths of different cartoon characters. Real fascinating stuff.
So, guys, we got some questions from last week. So we're gonna read those off, and then you guys are.
Well,
of course.
before we do that, we should find out where Attack of the Rivals and Michael's book can be found.
Well, yeah, we normally do that to that. Well, yeah, we
Michael's
can
does.
go into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can you find you guys' books at?
So right now, the home of the rivals is on my website, tavarezart.com. But eventually, it's going to have its own webpage. But if you use the domain attacktheRivals.com, it'll take you to the same place.
Okay.
Where'd that name come from, by the way? Attack of the Rivals.
Late night in a diner, like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
spitballing ideas, being kind of like thinking about what we could do in the future and trying to rival other comic book creators.
Yeah.
That's what a Grand Slam breakfast can do to you at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Nice corned beef hash omelet, like an entire pot of coffee to yourself.
Yes.
Just
Sitting there zipping on coffee, going, you know what'd be cool?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's attack our rivals. Oh, let's make that into a book. It'll be great.
And Michael, now where can you find your book? Because I know it's on Indiegogo right now.
Yep, it's on Indiegogo. It's on In Demand, and it'll be there till March. But we have a website for it, 7legions.com, where it has like more in-depth information about the story, and also has a link to the Indiegogo. So
Can you call up that campaign variant?
I will. I will right after the questions. I'll
Right.
I'll touch there. I'll go. I'll touch there.
You want to do what? You want to touch what?
I'll go. We'll start talking about their books a little bit after the questions. But yeah.
Okay.
So here we go. I'm gonna put up one of these questions here, and
I'm gonna put up a question. You
a
want me to read it?
question. Yeah, a question. I can't talk today. Did I tell everybody Lola got bit by a dog?
Oh, what kind of dog?
Yeah.
German Shepherd.
Ooh.
Yeah. About German Shepherd. She's not a happy camper, but she had to have shots and everything, and she's been pretty weird lately. I don't know. I think she's milking it.
She's been acting strange.
Yeah, she's been acting very strange. I think she maybe had rabies. You have to get rid of her. Take her. She got those cat ears. You got to take her out behind the shed and shot.
If she's got anything, I'm sure you'll be the first to know. Melanie Bowen. Thanks for writing in, Melanie. Is there one constant that successful indie comics all have in common? Well, all depends on who you talk to, Melanie. If you're a cynic, they would say yes, they don't exist.
Oh,
There's one constant, or yes, they all make a lot of money. But
I would say the one constant that all successful indie comics have is that they exist. Like somebody actually took the time to complete the project they were working on, because that's the actual hard part. Like I'm sure all of us as artists have had ideas that just got aborted because you never got around to actually finishing it. I mean,
I'm sure anybody who writes comics has got a couple of books full of them, full of ideas and titles and characters and all that.
Steven,
am I wrong?
oh, that's it,
I
man.
know.
Steven, I want you to remember that you said that. I want you to remember that you said that about about aborted ideas, because I have the ability to I have a good fortune to have to make all these questions into graphics, so I know what questions are coming up. So there's a question that leads into that, and yeah, I just remember you said that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Melanie, I think that would all constitute on what you consider to be a successful indie comics. That's where a part of doing your research into the market's going to come in real handy. Is you figuring out what comics you consider to be successful and what they do have in common. Because there are so many independent comics out there now in so many different levels that you really just have to snoop around and figure out what makes the successful ones successful.
I'd also say it kind of has something to do with like what is your definition of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds kind of corny, but like, what are you trying to achieve with your indie comic? Like, why are you making this book? Are you trying to connect to readers? Are you trying to put a message out there? Are you trying to score big? Like, it depends on what your idea of success is. But I'd say like one thing that ties all that together is discipline, and just like showing up to the drawing board, making pages, consistently doing work, whether that is research, whether that is writing, whether that is drawing. Like, as long as you just keep doing it and showing up, I think that all successful indie artists, depending on what you mean as successful, they all have one thing in common. And I think it's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, and just like one thing that's helped me in my case is just having a good network of other people to bounce ideas off of, get and just like help each other promote. Like definitely build up a network of other creators. That's been a great help to me.
I think that they I believe that the Attack of the Rivals are frozen. You guys hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not moving.
Okay. So that and I think when
You think they're going to need to step out for a sec? Can you guys talk? Okay, if you're talking, we're not hearing you. You're not coming through. You need to step out and pop back in.
Yeah, there we go. There
we go.
Sound like a robot. I want to weigh in on this question here, though. I think the successful indie comics, they all have someone behind them that is out there on the road, online, talking to people, meeting people. I think that they are all they make books for everybody. No matter your politics, no matter your religious affiliation, I think that those books tend to be the ones that are successful. Yeah. Sim says, "Never freaking give up.
Never freaking give up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to step out of your safety zone artistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good advice.
Passion and hard work.
Here they're back. I'm
Yeah,
going to put them up. Let's see if they're coming in.
Okay. That.
Yep.
Are you
There we
guys
go.
there?
Howdy.
Yeah. There we go.
Much better.
Awesome. We also might have been sitting a little far away.
Yeah. All right. So that question we've answered. I'm gonna make sure. That
So we're Attack of the Rivals. Where are you coming in from?
Pontiac, Michigan.
Yep.
Oh, well, you're not that far away.
No.
Yeah, because they're not that far away. In fact, when Art was on last time, we had joked about
Oh, yeah.
being in Pontiac. Now, Michael, where are you
Right.
at?
I'm in Indiana, close to Indianapolis.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, good old Indiana.
Yeah, there's actually the comic shop that what's his name, Mark Wade's. That it's like just one town over from me. Actually, yeah.
The one that he had the fiasco about, or what?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Mark Wade alert.
Very, very
Mark
sorry.
Wade alert. Mark Wade
Yeah.
alert.
That's our man baby drug.
Yeah.
All right. So it was Steven that brought that question about that statement about books being aborted, and I want you guys to all take time to think about this. I'm gonna put this question up here on the board. You can groan as it just gets worse and worse and worse. Ready?
How dare you?
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Randy, read it.
I'll read it as soon as the winding circle of death stops there.
Yeah. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait this out.
I'm starting to get sleepy.
Yes.
It's like
Suddenly you are no longer hungry.
I will say this is a cool screensaver you have here.
the flying
It's a lot better than the sporadic lightning bolts that we have had in the past. But you might have to pull that out and put it back in too.
yeah
That's what. No, sorry. I was gonna say that's what she said, but no.
You can put on some lo-fi and really zone out to this.
Yeah.
Some pro beats to study too.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it works again.
You might have to try it again.
I may have to sign out and sign back in.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You know, somebody's got to have some technical difficulties tonight, right?
It seems to be a
It's
constant.
your turn now.
Yeah. It's
Have you paid your dues?
Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
Randy has all types of clips, and he puts them up. Much to all right. I'm gonna step out. I'll be right back.
Step it out. Step it out.
I'll be right back.
Indianapolis.
Yep.
It's all right.
Yes, it's an okay town. Got a couple conventions there.
Yeah. Which ones?
We got Indiana Comic Con and Indie PopCon. Indie Comic Con's the one I'm gonna be leaning toward in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Indiana
other
Comic Con, is that by the same guys who used to run the Michigan Comic Con up here?
one.
What do you mean used to? They've only been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
Did they bail?
They're not going to do it for a third.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they're done.
was last year dead?
Well,
I went the
Varian,
first year.
I'm sure Varian's got a good report on that. He showed up for that. So I only go where I'm invited.
Oh,
Is he back? He's not back yet. He's still out. Actually, there's two of them sitting there. There we are. Now it's down to just us four. Here we go.
All
So
right.
tell me, Michael, what's the book about?
Okay, so it's the story of Hiko, an orphan who becomes a samurai in feudal Japan's chaotic civil war era.
Okay.
Every night he dreams of the life of Azrakal, an angel who served the Seven Legions, a galactic peacekeeping force. And as he grows older, he begins to become involved in this war between the Seven Legions and their enemies, while at the same time his own adoptive family is drawn into the war of their clan against their enemies, and he's got to choose which war he's got to fight. And they're sort of gonna, and that conflict, that internal struggle is going to cause trouble for him.
Wow. Okay, well, very, pull that up as soon as he gets done with the questions here. He's not moving yet. Oh, yeah, he is moving.
Yeah.
Now is he speaking?
Yeah, I'm moving. I'm
It's
moving. I like to think
He's
so.
thinking he's deep in thought.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey, Mr. T. Thanks for writing in. I crowdfunded a book successfully. I began work on the book in earnest. Uh-oh. Was Ernest mad? At the close of the campaign. But I've lost the story, and the book is a non-starter. What's worse, I spent about 75% of the cash on personal bills, and I'll admit a few movie concert tickets.
Time to
What's
avoid.
next? Should I just fade away or come clean to backers? Maybe sub the book out? Well, that is a good question. For one, you shouldn't. You should always be responsible with your crowdfunders' money. That's a big one. I hope this becomes an incredibly large lesson for you.
He's just shaking his
I
head.
have a feeling
Yeah.
this podcast might get subpoenaed one day.
Yeah.
What did you know?
All we're here for is to answer questions and give advice. We're not here to turn state's evidence. Maybe shake the finger at you a little bit. Well, you know, young man, you should have been responsible.
Yeah, that's all I can really say about this one. It's like, yeah, obviously you should come clean to the backers about the fact that you don't think the book's gonna.
Or that it's going to take a while for the book to come out, or it take a while for them to get refunded. If the book's really a non-starter, you better think about refunding everybody as quickly as possible. And that might mean you need to go out and get yourself a couple of jobs and get it done.
Yeah.
You know, and stop going to concerts.
Well, it's kind of an example of like, you know, this dude probably ruined all like credentials, you know, moving forward. If he tries to do anything else, who's going to back him after he ripped all these people off?
Yeah,
Well, he won't have ripped them off if he refunds them.
Yeah,
With an explanation. The big key here is don't lie. Don't stretch it out. Be as transparent as you possibly can without looking like a total idiot. And just refund everybody's money. So why are you staring into the camera, Mr. Varian?
T
He's
used to you sit down and listen to me. Listen to Varian. I'll never steer you wrong.
Listen to Papa Varian.
Listen,
Here, we're going to pop him up here. Whoop.
put him on the
Yeah.
pedestal.
I just kicked him off. Hit the wrong one. Here we go. Talk to the camera. Talk to the camera.
Listen, T. I used to work at General Motors for years, and one thing they taught us in the plant, it was a union plant. They taught us this thing that will keep you employed and keep you in favor with the bosses, and that thing is 3 little words: deny, deny, deny.
Oh shit!
If you come and listen. At this point, you're already screwed. You can't. You come clean if you want. You tell. But you spend 75% of the money on concert tickets. I hope they were good concert tickets. And I hope. What else? Movie tickets.
Lizzo appreciates his business.
What show would be worth it? Which one show would be worth it?
It might not just be one show.
If it had to be one show, oh man,
It could be a long string of shows.
It's got to be like a Linkin Park.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like
Nickelback.
yeah. Oh, Nickelback. Those tickets should be free. They pay me to come back.
It's a hardcore Nickelback concert.
But no, it had to be. I mean, you're screwed, T. And you want to sub the book out.
Well, you won't be totally screwed. Take that other 25%, just slowly start refunding people, and then work. Get yourself an outside job, and start refunding as many people as you possibly can, as fast as you can, especially if you want to do this again.
Sim says he spent the money. He can't refund. At this point, refund will cost more than paying out of pocket to fulfill.
He could do a partial refund and just get the book out when he could. You know, like as soon as he can.
That's right. That's important. Ralph says may not admit to squandering your money. Do not admit to squandering the money.
Transparency, though, is the key. Just tell them that the money has been spent. You don't have to tell them what it's been spent on. Yeah. And definitely be careful if you have a YouTube channel or you're doing a video explaining it. Don't wear the concert T-shirt that you bought either.
Yeah, but I'd say one thing is that reputation is everything, especially in indie comics. And if I had supported your Kickstarter, like when I support a Kickstarter and I know that person didn't come through and I see them launch another one, I remember that. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Well, next time he does one or she does one, next time T does one, they should have the book done. That way you don't have to worry about if the book is a non-starter. I mean, I'm working on a book now, and I've got a lot of experience in this market. You know, I know better than to pop right out with a campaign and go, hey, everybody, give me your money so that I can sit on it for 6 months while I do the book. You know, the book will be done first, and then we'll have the campaign so that when I do the video for the campaign, I can show the book right in front of them and say, book's done.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Send me your money. That way, the people that are crowdfunding you are going to have the confidence that they're going to get something. You know, and I think that's a lesson that a lot of people are learning last year and this year. I mean, there's been a lot of books that have been started up exactly like T had done. You know, I want to work on a book. It's going to be great. It's going to be like this. Send me your money. And they send the money, and then they don't see that release date happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to become standard practice from now on, especially by the middle of this year. I would say for successful campaigns to have the book done. You want to have I figure you need to have the book done anyway so that you can spend the time of your campaign doing nothing but hustling on your campaign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doing all
I
the
would
legwork.
agree with that
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. The way I see it, this guy's got three options: save up money to fulfill, save up money to refund, or Mexico.
I was just going to say, or magically turn yourself into a cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Get yourself into a pasture.
or I offer something a little bit more out of the box. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but maybe, just maybe, he can identify the campaigns fulfilled. If he identifies the campaigns fulfilled, we all have to go away. So that's what we'll do. We'll just
He
have
says
to,
campaign's fulfilled.
yeah, just identify it as fulfilled. Be like, no, it's fulfilled. I fulfilled that campaign. It's cool. Just
I
That's
swear to
not
God, I
good.
sent it. I swear I sent it.
It's in the mail.
Yep,
It's
it's in the mail.
It's
It's in the mail.
the
All
check,
right.
just like the check for your dues.
Yeah.
The check is in the mail.
So, all right, we got two more questions, and like I said, they got worse as soon as that. As soon as I was it,
They
Miss
got worse.
Bowen's question, they all went downhill. So, all right, here we go. Sorry, I'm having issues with this.
Issues.
There we go.
Maybe
all right, so
some
here's what
sketches-
these get.
Maybe some sketches and trade off. That's what Ralph says. Find a way to refund that money, T. Please do it as soon as possible. Are we sure this person exists?
Seconded.
Ziedman?
Seconded.
S. Ziedman.
S. Ziedman.
Sounds like you.
Mistakes happen. It's how we respond and adapt, learn from them that matter. But WCBSers, world-class bullshitters.
Mm-hmm.
Hicks should have known better. S. Ziedman. I don't know, S. I don't know. We're all.
I don't know what he means by the Hicks should have known better. Like,
Are you familiar with the stealing solo situation?
Not at all.
No.
Well, he.
Here, we should make a video that explains that situation in like 5 minutes. So it's like boom, 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 boom. So we don't have to sit here and explain it all the time.
Here's the thing. This is Jeff, right? Jeff Hicks has a website called World Class Bullshitters where he talks about Star Wars mainly. And
And other media, yeah.
he has a book.
things,
He had
yeah.
a book idea that was really good. The book idea was that some guys are upset about the Last Jedi, so they kidnap and Force Awakens, so they kidnap Han Solo or Harrison Ford, and they put him in their basement and make him redo the scenes for the movie. That's a pretty funny premise. I like that. The problem is apparently he went cheap on the printing. He went so cheap that he went to a company that I guess he thought they said, "Hey, will you guys print this book?" We found the printer, Randy and I. Will you print the book? And they said,
yes,
"Yeah,
we
can
did.
you mail it out?" And they said, "Yes."
Yes, they could.
Yeah, but what they didn't tell him was that they weren't going to mail it out in a Gemini mailer like we're used to getting when we crowdfund. No. They left the back page blank, printed on the back of that sumbitch like a flyer,
Like a catalog. Like a catalog. Not necessarily a flyer, but like a catalog. They had their little D class mailing permit print on there, and then they printed the person's address on the back cover, and they mailed it.
And they mailed it right. No protection,
No protection,
no condom, no nothing, just raw.
no box, no nothing. So most of them, when they got it in the mailbox, the mailman took it, folded it in half, shoved it in the mailbox, and along with along with whatever, the red plum or whatever little newspaper flyers that were there that day, stuffed in the mailbox. So everybody, they get it out and they start doing videos going, hey, I guess I got the bent corner ran over by my grandma edition.
Michael, did you buy a copy? Did you get a copy?
No, but I did hear about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I seen you go off camera for a second. I thought you were gonna bring up like a mangled copy of the book.
I was gonna pull up my copy of the.
Hopefully you weren't out there rolling your eyes.
No, I was looking for maybe a Harbor Freight little coupon booklet.
Little Gemini mailer. Yeah.
It's horrible. So he made $52,000 crowdfunding.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
He did a crowdfund. The Stealing Solo campaign made 52,000, but it was right at the time that all of these guys were pulling down big money. Right at Cyberfrog was running, and he was up with Ethan on there. Now, as far as knowing better, the more that I look at the situation and the more that I hear from different people about the situation, and I'm not, buddies with these guys, is that you can't assume that just because your friend knows how to mail a book that you know how to mail a book, or that your friend has got connections and has been printing comics that they're going to tell their buddy. You would think that they would. You would assume that he would have known better. But from the way I'm seeing the situation is he just bungled the job because he either decided he was too busy or whatever. I don't think he intentionally went on the cheap. I think that he asked them if they could fulfill and with a mailing list, and he assumed that it was going to be mailed out. They asked the printer if he had printed a comic in the past, and maybe this company has printed a comic in the past, and these guys are right on. Right online, they have a little fill-in form that you can do and just send them a PDF. And he was saying he had talked to the printer twice, and that's not something that you're going to want to do when you have a project. Just talk to your printer twice. If you can, go over and visit them, even if it means that you have to travel across the state. They need to see a physical face. You need to have enough confidence in your printer to know that they are going to do an ACES book. A great project. You're going to want to try to find a printer who's printed not just one or two comics either, but are really familiar with the business, really familiar with printing your comic.
There's the back.
They know what they're doing.
There's the back cover of the book.
Yeah, there's what the back cover of the book.
This one is on eBay.
Yeah. Oh, is there? There's one on eBay?
Yeah, $50. So there's the back cover of the book, fellas.
Somebody's looking to double their money, aren't they?
So that's what happened. And I mean, this book though looks like it made it through in relatively good shape.
It does. It looks like it made it through incredibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So service in that area.
Yeah.
Last question.
So now, Hicks is an example, just like T was an example of the people that we carried, of everything when you're crowdfunding that you do not want to do. You want to learn from these people and not make the same mistakes. Respect the money as it comes in. Don't spend it on anything except for the project that it's crowdfunded for until that crowdfunding is shipped. And then you have profit. Profit is for play.
Yeah.
Or if you're bad with money, have someone that that you trust who is good with money help you. Well,
I have found some things you just have to leave to the professionals, and accountants are awesome. And they are well, if you get a good accountant, they're well worth their money. Believe me.
And just based on what you've told me about the situation, I think it's pretty easy to find information on reputable, good comics printing services. Dirk Manning has a whole list of them. I think the Fourth Point Press guys do too. I think he could have gone with a more reputable
Randy's a little butterfly.
Did he say a swear word? What happened?
Pardon. It's my face red. My face is red. I've just been coughing up a lung. I'm sorry.
You just see it when Randy has a thing when he takes himself off because he's afraid he's gonna cough on camera. He starts building up. He turns.
You can feel it. You can feel the build up.
And then the Jollibee pops up. So that was just funny. Like the Jollibee just It's like it's like the 404 from Randy. It's great.
It'll just be there.
I'm sorry, but he's been doing it like all.
I
week.
can't stop. I'm sorry.
He's been doing like all week. He turns red, and then he just, it's like he's about to explode. Anyway,
I'm gonna do a graphic where we drop a duck from the top of the, just like the old Groucho Marx show. It says, "You said the magic word. You get." You
you
just said the magic word.
Did you?
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
You were saying that.
We're sorry.
You were saying that now. I found though, Steve, that I mean, like we've talked at comic conventions before. I found that some people will not share information. Have you read into that? Like somebody say, "Hey man, where'd you get this book printed?" And they're like, "Fuck you! I'm not telling you." They don't say "fuck you," but they're like, "Oh yeah, online. Yeah, there's a guy."
Those are the people you don't want to talk to, though. Those are the idiots out there that just, I'm going to keep it to myself. No.
But-
We all want to share because we want our printer to stay in business.
Oh yeah,
You know,
It's like
upgrade, get better printers and stuff. You know.
yeah.
And like I was just saying, reputation's everything. If somebody was just like, "No, I'm not going to tell you where I got my book printed," you're going to remember that you just had with that person.
I
can't agree with you enough. Reputation is everything.
I do not like me. I'll be honest with you guys. There are times I've gone to some good cons, and I gotta tell you guys, I don't go online and tell you guys I'm at a con because I know how it is. I did a con pretty far out the country. Not the country.
Out the country, way out the country.
And it was great. I made a lot of money. I met a lot of new fans, and I'm never telling you guys where I was at because I know what'll happen. You all show up. Every single last one of you.
You shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
And you guys take the money out the room. No, there are people. No, I mean, I'm joking, but there are people who will take the, who won't share the information. And with it being a small, industry, very small world. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if I've met people on here, and then I met them next week at a show or something, or a week or two at a show. People do iNDIEVOLT, so it is a small world, and you have to be careful because when you got when you're taking people's money for a book, they can find you at a show too. I'll just tell them I'm Art Tavarez. Like I'm sick, that's why I'm so dark. I got this skin disorder. It just came. It's Steve. Now, and I got you guys' books, but I got to go to one more question. And then Simon said he had a guy come after him trying to link him to the solo fiasco, and he turned him into a backer promoter. But see, Sim, what? That's good. That's good.
That's a successful salesman right there.
Yeah. Ralph says I was going to ask, was he allowed to use the logos and such without paying out royalties or anything on that order? I'm not sure what he was referring to.
It was considered parody if you're talking about the Stealing Solo book.
Yeah, somebody sent it to Disney. Somebody sent the book to Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing they're going to be able to do because it does fall underneath the realm of parody.
All right, last question. I wish this was parody. It's from another Z. Guys, don't laugh so hard because I know I've been laughing all week and I've been laughing at these questions. Here we go.
We just keep getting laughed at.
This was for Rob. And Rob's not on the show this week.
Rob?
Yeah, Rob Anderson.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're not supposed to laugh. Rob's usually pretty serious.
No, this question.
Oh, for Rob.
Yes.
And it's from Z McLeod. Tell Rob the Indie Devil. I got a fetish comic. Oh, that's the wrong coming. Coming too. But I'm currently trying to find a printer that will mix my... Oh. Okay, you can take that off.
Yikes!
My juice in
That's a big
ink to print it.
one.
Well, you're gonna run into the problem of pages
That's
sticking
not
together.
gonna happen.
Who said that? Was that Michael? Was that you?
Yeah. You're gonna have the problem of pages sticking together.
Yeah, there's that.
Randy's hacking up along again. That's disgusting.
No, I'm fixing my light.
Oh, okay, that's disgusting.
In the past, they found a way to have Kiss mixed their blood in the ink for a Kiss comic book, but they were Kiss. There was a reason for them to do that. Like, why would I care that your essence or whatever the word you want to use for it is mixed into the comic book? How is that a selling point? Like,
You might need that Jollibee here in a second.
Eventually, it's just gonna smell bad.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, McLeod, that's not going to happen. You're not going to find a printer that will allow you to do that.
Yeah, that's just going to get you on the block list real quick.
That's nasty.
Well, more than the block list.
Could you imagine that?
That could be a visit to your house by people you don't want to have in your house.
So by not telling this guy what kind of printer he can go to, are we cop blocking him? Are we? I've been saving that joke all morning.
I think he successfully did that to himself.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that you're holding a book and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, it's my.
Well, especially with the spread of diseases, you won't even see that Kiss situation happen anymore.
Fresh STD with every copy.
There's not a printer out there that's going to take any type of secretion and put it into the printer ink.
Same train of thought.
It's not going to happen. I'm talking realistically here, even though the question was probably meant more in jest.
Yeah. It's Rob's fault. For it. I'm gonna send it to him. That's nasty, Rob. All right. So, sorry. All right. So
do you think that was a fake name?
Stickers.
STDs included with the book.
Yeah. We got some. Yeah.
Yeah, Trico's right though. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into my comics, but that's all.
You know, I've said before this book is so bad it gave me AIDS, but that book can.
Oh no,
man! Ouch!
That book can really do it. They just start sticking together.
And that was a publicity stunt that they're only going to let happen once. You're not going to see a printer nowadays that'll do that. Realistically, you're not going to find it.
Depends.
he can make friends with the midnight shift.
Well, see, that was separate though. They were using Stan's blood in order to sign things as ink.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't, I'm not even sure if that was mixed in with any ink. He was just signing it, and you were getting his signature in Stan's authentic blood.
These would be the baby batter editions.
Man, if you sign anything in blood, it better be like a contract with a demon in order to get eternal youth.
Or make it big in comics.
Why would you?
Yeah. Ralph says, remember not to lick your finger to turn those pages.
It's salty. This book is so salty. I'm sorry.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. I'm done. All right. So come now.
Wait a minute.
Literally. We're gonna look at you. We're gonna look at the Attack of the Rivals books. So you guys got Nomads.
We have to tack that TV-14 up there, but
yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you also have Hephaestus, right?
Yeah.
Hephaestus. Am I missing something? Am I?
Probably.
Those are we also have a horror anthology that we released last August.
Okay.
And let's see, yeah. So those are like our three main projects that we have printed.
Yeah, there's Tales of Death and Destiny. That's a horror anthology. Nomads is the big one that we're pushing right now, and then we also have Hephaestus Reforged.
Mm-hmm. Now you guys are on Webtoon. Looks like you got, how many parts is it so far? You got 3 pages. So I really hate how Webtoon does it backward, but it makes sense, I guess. 21 parts, 5K views.
So a lot of that was breaking the issues up. So I make all of Nomads for print.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of do it backwards. There's some creators that make it specifically for Webtoons. I take my pages and cut them down and format them to fit Webtoons. And, I was trying to figure out the rhythm of everything. So right now, moving forward, they're going to be broken down into like the equivalent of about 7 pages at a time. Whereas before I was breaking them down almost page by page.
Right. You see, now what this looks, You're doing a coloring computer, right?
Yes. Yep.
It almost looks like I have the is that first issue?
Yeah. So you probably have like the 0 issue and the first issue.
Yeah. The coloring, it looks like on this picture here looks, I don't want to say improved, but yeah, it looks a lot better than even in the book.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Nomads is kind of like it's a passion project of mine. I do it in between bigger gigs, and it's kind of like a playground. So I try new techniques that I learn out here, and then I apply them to whatever projects I'm working on for clients and stuff. So it's kind of like a test bed. Over the course of the issues, the style has kind of evolved and changed, but I'm kind of getting it to a point where I'm really liking it, and probably where it's going to continue to go.
Right. It looks really good. Let me put this other art up here too. You got, because I don't know if you brought this up the last time you were on the show.
I got kind of steamrolled by Larry.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be real.
Let's see. Oh, there we go. I'll go to this one. Tales of Death and Destiny, because I had some more of your work on there. Am I going to click the right one this time? There we go. All right.
Yep. So that's a black and white anthology that we put together.
Okay. This looks nice. The black and white comics, you think, oh, that's easy, but you have to be really good to make that not look like a muddled mess. So, good job. Good job here. Now, this book is that the entire book there?
No, so that's just a sample on our website. If you go back to comics.
Okay.
And I have, scroll down to Worm of Ashwood. That's the one with the knight. Yep, right there. And there's some more pages. That's also included in the Tales of Death and Destiny.
Okay.
That's a collaboration between Steve and I that we worked on together.
Now, would you say that because you guys self-publish this, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, and that's one of the questions that somebody wrote in, but I don't have a graphic for it. They want to know what's the difference between the studio and a that was from iNDIEVOLT Radio, by the way. What is the difference between a studio and a publisher? It is kind of self-explanatory, but would you guys consider yourself more of a publisher or a studio, or just two pals having fun?
What makes us not a publisher is we don't publish other people's works. We self-publish our own books, but I do work with other clients. Steve's done some editing work with other clients as well, but we don't actually fulfill those books to production. We may assist with like putting books together and getting them prepped for print and formatted, but beyond that, we don't actually fulfill any services.
Yeah, I'd say the big difference is what is their role in the production of the book. Like a publisher is somebody who more helps you with the actual printing of the book and getting it out to stores, getting your copies to you, getting it in people's hands. Whereas a studio is giving you creative advice. Like that's somebody who's editing your story for you, or like going over your pages and telling you how your layouts could be better and stuff like that.
So what's the main book you guys got out right now? What do you consider the main book from that you want? If someone has to pick up and they want the full experience, which one should it be?
Nomads, definitely.
Nomads? Okay. Let me see here. There's I did like the video we did for Home on iNDIEVOLT TV. We did the interview with Ryan. It was a very quick interview, but I want to bring up.
Yeah, that was what, Sunday. That was the last day. I was pretty tired at that point. Yep. So here's some samples from Nomads. Yeah, that's Thrush, the main antagonist in this arc. So Nomads is follows the story of Hawk, who's lost his family and his tribe, and the disappearance of his family and tribe forces him to leave the Lush, which is this untouched, pristine jungle, for the first time, and he ventures out into a world that's where man has fallen and it's returned to like a primal state. So it's a world where only like the strong can survive.
Right.
Kind of combining some elements of like Mad Max and Apocalypto, Terminator.
Yeah, it looks good.
My favorite thing about the book and Ryan's color work on it is like notice how even though it's a post-apocalyptic world, it's a very vibrant color palette he's using. Like just like that picture you showed of the crystal chasm. Like I just love that. Like the purple, the crystal, how the chasm actually has depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's one of the ways I'm fortunate as a writer is like one of the hardest parts about getting your books out there is working with artists who are actually good and like who actually have craft. Like that's a well foreshortened piece of art. Like that chasm actually has depth to it. Like it looks like a place you could actually go walk around in.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people would be capable of pulling that off.
No, not me anyway. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And that book is now you guys are going to you've printed that before.
So we printed the 0 issue and the issue number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I've done limited runs of those. Once issue 2 is finished, it's run online, which will probably be in the next couple of weeks. I'll be moving it to print, and we'll probably do another limited run. I only do about 100 to 250 copies at a time, and then once those sell out, that's pretty much it until I print a new issue. So I'm all out of issue number 1, so I'll be getting a restock of that when I also do issue 2.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing with mine. When I get low, I'll order a new one, a new set. Like if I'm out of issue 1, I know issue 2 is coming out in a month. I'll go ahead and burn off the rest of those issue 1s.
Are you currently offering Nomads online?
No, it's available to read for free online. I think you can find the 0 issue on Comixology. But right now, the only way to actually get it physical is through us. You know, if you see us at a show, or if you happen to reach out to me online, just part of the distribution and stuff like that is right now for me just kind of an added complication. I figure everyone can still read it online if they want to, and eventually we are looking to collect this into volumes. And so I instead of saturating everything with the single issues, I'd rather just allow people to enjoy it now and then choose if they want to buy the complete story.
Nice hardbound. Was it perfect bound? One nice hardcover.
Yeah, I feel like Andrew McLean has it right with Headlopper, just waiting and releasing an actual thick, substantive book every quarter. Because I'll admit, I do not buy floppies. I am trades all the way. Like often, if I buy a floppy, it's from an indie creator just because I'm trying to support them.
Right.
Like.
Now, we talked about 7 Legions last week, but now we have him with us.
No.
And I'm going to let's see here. Let's bring it up. Oh, sorry. My computer does not like anybody today, especially me. It's
Do you want me to bring it up?
I got it. Sweet. All right. I'm going to play this trailer.
Okay.
It's better not be porn. I'm just kidding. Here we go.
It probably doesn't matter after that last question. Is there sound? You didn't share the sound?
I didn't share the sound, did I? Oh, no. I've ruined it.
Mulligan.
Yeah.
Good thing there were subtitles.
Yeah, I ruined it. I didn't play the sound. Hold on. I'm going to fix it. It's got to be redid. Oh, there we go. Okay. Might help if I click share audio. All right.
That was porn. I saw that.
Now, your book, 7 Legions, you're on Indiegogo right now. And on top of that, you are at, hold on, let me do more editing. Oh, my computer just dislikes me so much. Okay, so you are Indiegogo, and you are at $4,319.
Congratulations!
That's
man.
awesome.
Yes, congratulations.
Thanks.
Very cool.
It was great. We just barely got funded in time to go in demand. It was definitely a buzzer beater there.
Yeah. And I forgot you have the second video too.
Yeah.
And I really, what I liked, that's right. This is the poster I was kind of fanboying out about last week.
Yeah, that's drawn by Henry Ponciano. He did Tinseltown for Alterna, and that's colored by me.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about it. What's the story of the book?
All right, so it's a sci-fi fantasy historical fiction. It's a story of an orphan named Hiko who lives in the chaotic Civil War era of Japan, known as the Sengoku era. He's adopted in. Every night he dreams of the life of Azrakal, an angel who serves the Seven Legions, which is a galactic peacekeeping force. And Azrakal uncovered a plot by the three greatest enemies of the Seven Legions to destroy them from within. But before he could warn anyone, he vanished, leaving only his memories behind in the mind of Hiko. Now Hiko is adopted into a clan. That clan becomes involved in a huge war, but at the same time, Hiko becomes involved in the war between the Seven Legions and their enemies, and he's got to pick which conflict he's going to participate in. But that internal struggle is going to lead to some problems.
Yeah. Let me see here. Okay, so now you have I seen the long box for a second. So you're shipping some books to the troops. That's awesome.
Yep.
$50 is the print tier. Now, what are you getting that tier?
So that for anyone who's not familiar with the terminology, print tier might be like, oh, you're just doing the books for $50. No, that's like that. That's the books and posters. Okay. And every backer of that tier will get 2 books, 3 posters, which includes that awesome looking poster by Henry Ponciano. And we got a poster by Carlo Rowe and a poster by Pablo Romero. So those are the 3 you'll get with that.
Now you got this on the physical copy is $20.
Yeah, that's just the base level. You'll get the physical copy, and you'll also get swag items. Like all the swag items, they'll come with all the tiers. But yeah, like every backer will get the books and the swag items, like bookmark and trading cards, the first 2. That's
cool. Now you got, let's see, $80 for the troops. Now, how does that work when you send books? I know you send them to bases. How many books go in that box? Is it like 100 or?
Let's see. There'll be for each backer, there'll be I believe it was 5. It's been a long time since I actually looked at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I believe it's 5 copies of each book per backer, and 1 backer to each back, and 1 copy to the backer of that tier.
What I liked was you had you can put yourself in the book.
Yeah.
I think one of the tiers was that you could be an important character that could come back around. I've been putting a couple books by friends, and unfortunately, it wasn't very flattering. I get put in books, and it's like, hey, that guy looks like me. Why is he being murdered?
I've had 2 backers of the enemy of the Legion's tier, and the first one I actually sold because I told him he was going to get killed violently. He's going to take a axe to the face from a dwarf on a jetpack. So, and I've seen the early stages of that panel, and oh man, it is. You can feel the energy of that whack.
We don't get a lot of. I mean, we get writers and we get artists on here, but we don't get just a lot of just people who just do the writing. So I have to ask, do you guys feel like when you're writing books that you ever think like the artist is gonna hate you? Like Steven, do you ever contact Ryan like, hey, look, man, I'm doing this scene.
There are definitely panels you feel bad about writing because there's so many times like what takes you only a minute or two to write, that could be your artist's entire day. Like pretty much anything that takes place in a city. Like if you have a bird's eye view of a city or something like that, your artist is probably shaking his head the moment he reads that description.
Like, oh, it's cloudy today.
What's cool is
The fog has rolled in.
we worked together for almost 10 years, so we tend to bounce a lot of stuff back and forth. And I think sometimes he knows what I can do better than what I know I can do. So it's always kind of cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just having open communication with your artist, knowing what they feel comfortable drawing or what they want to draw and trying to work that into your story. Like, you'll always get better results trying to play to your artist's strength than it is like, this is my story and you're going to tell it the way I want it to be, whether you like it or not, you know?
Yeah. I have he says Sim says he's gonna need reference for that door for commission.
Yeah.
Make sure you get that reference to him.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Michael, when you're writing and having these ideas, do you ever feel bad? You ever call your artist and you're like, hey man, look, I just drew like, jet planes with angel wings and then it transforms, and you ever feel bad about that? Because on behalf of all artists, how dare you? How dare you? I had plans.
Well, there are no angel wings on jet planes, but there are dwarfs on jetpacks. But yeah, so like when I first told an artist to draw there's 3 characters with wings in the panel, I was like, take any shortcuts you need.
Like, we'll take them.
Yeah.
The idea is not to sit next to Randy, because when you do it, you sit next to Randy at a show and you're like, hey, look at this. And he's like, those aren't feathers. Those like leaves. And I'm like, what? So there I am, going back to the show, during the show, changing these leaves into feathers now.
That's not what a feather looks like.
That's a leaf. Always right.
Here's a palm branch. This is what that looks like. Next time, lots of W's.
Simon says, sometimes I hate my freaking writer when he gets me to do those complex freaking pages. The problem, I write my own stuff.
Yeah, there you go. That's too true.
Yeah. I refuse to work with Varian Grant. I refuse to work from that guy. Yeah, she refuses. She's actually told me before, you have to stop. You if you don't finish this page, you've been working on this page for like a month, you're gonna noodle it to death. And then I'll open up book. Like I've opened up Festus, and I've opened up Nomads, and I'm like you guys, the first Nomads book, I think it's issue 0, takes place predominantly in the desert.
Yes.
And I'm looking at one of your desert things, and I'm like, I'm gonna, him and his mountains. I got them for his ass. Wait till he sees this. And it's kind of like battle rapping. Is battle sketching a thing?
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. That's what I think I was all about, bro.
It's like, but it's one of those things where I'm always influenced by everybody's art that I see. Writing, like I'm drawing someone else's book right now. 2 people's books, and one writer's much better than the other. And it definitely helps if you have that shorthand that I'm not sure you guys got, but Michael's gonna get cussed out by his writer pretty soon, because I'm looking at that book, I'm like, there's too many wings, man. I'm not drawing all those angel wings. I can't do it. You get one. Everyone else has moth wings after that. Everyone else.
Yeah.
Randy, did you ever refuse to draw anything? Like you're like, I can't do this.
No.
I've
never run into that problem.
Show off.
He's just that good.
Yeah.
No, I just go see if I get into a lot of detail in that, I just go really cartoony. That's all. It's so much easier to
And
draw.
with Henry, he's doing the side that has more of the angels. There's a lot of shortcuts he's found that it worked with his style, and it still looks like angel wings. So yeah, it's a lot simple. It looks like it'd be a lot more complicated, but yeah, once you find ways to simplify it, it gets easier.
Either that, or if it's for an outside client, I remind them that I work by the hour. It usually pares down pretty quick.
I'm writing by the hour. Now you guys have Attack of the Rivals, which is funny. I know you guys' names. I'm like Attack of the Rivals, but you guys have you got the website. You got the book out for free right now, or at least Nomads out for free.
Yep.
Have you? And it's on Webtoon. It's on. And it's funny. I was talking to a lady. There was from Webtoon. I forget which con I was at, but she was telling me that they really, really want more Western style comics on there because there's such a large amount of slice of life manga style stuff on there. She was like, please. As a matter of fact, I think she told Eric the same thing. Eric Hodson's been on the show. Please come back. Keep putting your titles up there. So it's cool to see you guys got a book up there. And now Michael put one of his up there too. So we gotta get rid of Michael. Speaking, show them that bookmark they get with the book.
Yep. This is drawn by Simon, colored by me.
Oh, that's nice, man.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think our styles work really well together.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the Hiko, the protagonist, as an adult. He's going to start off as a kid the first few issues, but yeah, that's him as an adult.
Now, hold on.
And then,
I'm looking. I got to look at my Twitter, and I got to check. And I got to check carefully because if I don't, so much pornography on my Twitter. Hold on. No, serious. I thought it'd be cute to follow porn stars, and then I did. And
For
some
you,
of
it's
those
either
girls-
comics or nudity. We all know.
Yeah, some of those girls, man, they're crazy though. I've opened Twitter before and seen full out like sessions, and I'm like, oh. And the problem is, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I got a little 19-inch, maybe 15-inch monitor here that's turning a landscape, so that I can, and it's just for Twitter. And I got my main monitor here. Well, so I'm worried that one day I'm going to be scrolling Twitter on a social media feed or on a live stream, and it's going to pop up some girl or some guy being rammed.
It's a public square for Discord.
That'll make YouTube real happy.
Yeah. So yeah, let me see. Now, I want to ask you guys, who did? Oh, he wasn't there. Okay. There we go. Who is the artist on? What's that? Royal Rumble. Is that you, Mike? Is that you, the writer on that one? I seen that it was this Sim posted it. That and yeah, it was called Royal Rumble. Sim, who's the artist on that one? Is that you too? He's in the chat. Maybe he'll respond quickly. Now, Randy, you, as far as our guests are concerned, you have the most experience of it out of all of us because you're
Perhaps even combined.
yeah because you're old.
I'm an old man. Done a lot of old things.
What do you think about web comics? Do you think it's how you feel about that? Do you think that they should be we should keep doing them, or maybe scale back on the web comics and just release
Some says,
physical merch?
yep, that's me. Since it's part of the Natverse.
I'm convinced. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I think that Royal Rumble is all him. I think, yeah.
I'm convinced Sim changes his style depending on who he's working with. Do you do that, Art? Do you change your style?
Yep. So my style on Nomads is quite different than the style I use on Motor City Mall.
Mhm.
It's a little different than what's on like Worm of Ashwood. Even that anthology has 3 stories that I did the art on, and each one is a different style.
There was once an artist, I can't think of his name right now, but he billed himself as artist of 1,001 styles.
Yeah.
Because he would draw like anybody. So he draw like Jim, he draw like Rob, he draw like Randy if needed, like me, poor guy. And
Now I wouldn't claim to be a mimic Like I'm not that good. I couldn't just like pick up like a Todd McFarlane style. I could probably pull elements from it and change my style up a little bit. I try to do it based on the type of story that we're telling. So like Nomads, everything's real rough. Even the first book, there's no ink. It's actually done with graphite. And then like all the colors are rough. But then you go to Motor City Mo, which is like a crime noir romance, and with some really dark subject matter. But I chose more of like a kind of a cartoony style for it to kind of like lift it up.
Steve, Steve, who's your favorite writer? You have a favorite writer at all in comics?
My favorite writer? Honestly, I mean Alan Moore. Like I know it's probably like not the cool answer, but like to me, like Saga of Swamp Thing, probably one of the best DC like stories ever written in general. Just even further from that, like all the classics you could name, From Hell, The Watchmen, all that kind of stuff.
I did read a little bit of the Swamp Thing, and I think that, let me see here. I think that it is a good book. Alan Moore is very talented. Since as he changes the style according to projects, different stories require a different approach. That's true. Yeah.
Going back to that point earlier, I don't know if being a mimic makes you a proficient artist, but I don't know if it makes you a good one, if that makes sense. Because to me, what I like about working with Ryan is Ryan still has his own style, even though he's capable of like changing the lens to suit the story. Like you can look at a piece of Ryan's art and know that he did it. And I think with a lot of good artists, like when we say Todd McFarlane art, you immediately picture that in your mind, like what that looks like. Same thing with Jim Lee. Same thing with almost any famous comic book artist you can mention, because that's part of what makes them a prolific artist is they have style.
Yeah, I can see that, but it still takes a lot of talent to see what an artist is doing and be able to do that and practice it in the same respect. So I think that's a different type of talent, and it gets you a lot of gigs because you find a lot of people who want a specific style.
Michael, do you have a favorite writer?
I never really pay much attention to credits. I know there's like sort of types of stories that I like that I gravitate towards. Like basically any story where the universe goes like really like into a dark future or anything like that. Like they got to prevent it. I love those types of stories.
Ralph says my favorite writers: Stuart Kerr, Randy Zimmerman, and Mark Bloodwell. Oh wait, they're all Arrow guys. I'll tell you something. What I was kind of shocked about. You know how people are like, they've got a following. Well, I was sitting with Randy at Great Lakes Comic Con this year in February. And we're sitting there, and Lola was there, and just hanging out with Randy, and people are coming up to the table. Oh, it's Randy. Hey, Mr. Zimmerman, can you? And people are bringing up books, and he's signing them, and I'm getting a little jealous because I'm like, book is old, it's on newsprint. I'm sitting there, I'm saying little mean things. He's
Do you want me to sign this?
Yeah, but he's signing these books.
Let me knock the dust off of it.
But I thought to myself, like, wow, man. How cool is that? Like someone, like they didn't buy the books from him; they had them in their collection, and they brought them to the show because they knew he'd be there.
Well, it's because I don't do a whole lot of shows anymore, and there's a lot of local guys that follow what I do. So when they run across something at a comic shop or whatever, they take it and they put it in a file with my name on it, and they see I'm going to be at a show, and then they bring it in and have me sign it.
Yeah,
the really cool stuff, the stuff that always throws me is the commercial artwork. When they find something, they dig up a strip of Vuvu Wonder Showgirl that's in Deja Vu Showgirls magazine, and they bring it to me at a show, and there's all the kids around, and I'm like, you want me to sign this? So, here you go. You might not want to keep that out in the open.
Lola's about to kill our ratings because she has to leave. She's gonna go take care of her dog bite wound. Yeah, she's we wish you a speedy recovery, Lola.
Always.
Yeah, hurry up and get that dog bite taken care of. She walked into a her grandparents' house, and they have 4 dogs, and one of the new ones is a German. Well, it's not the newest, but it's the German Shepherd. Seriously overweight German Shepherd, and jumped up on her. She put her arm up at the exact moment, and he took a nice chunk out of her.
Oh.
She had to get. I didn't know, but part of the rabies, like, because she knows that I doesn't have rabies, but she didn't want to get her grandparents in trouble, so she acted like it was a stray. but they part of the procedure for the rabies vaccination is that besides there's 2 shots in your thighs, but there's another, and then they have to give her another shot in her arm. But there's the rabies shot is 1 milligram each of this liquid, this global something liquid, but it's around the actual bite. So she got 9 shots total, but it's 6 shots that go around the wound and very close to it. So it's like the wound's already inflamed, swollen, and they gotta shoot 6 liters around it. But she was in a lot of pain. She was screaming. I got pictures of her face crying. Those pictures will be available on the IndieVolt Discord when the show ends tonight. But
Lola's shaking her head. No.
But
Varian will also be camping out on the couch.
The other thing is
being generous.
Then he'll be lucky he's still inside. Could be the doghouse.
Yeah. What you say, Steve?
I said Randy's being generous. He's assuming you still get to stay in the house.
Yeah.
That's why the storage shed has a bed in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's having complications since she got the shot, because now she's doing this thing where, like in the morning, her speech is slurred. She's running fever. She's dizzy, and that's all rabies problems. So I'm like, are you sure your grandparents' dog was? Yeah. So I'm waiting for her to start hallucinating, and then I'm putting her out. Well, I won't put her out. I'll call the paramedics, but then I'll tell them she's outside. So.
Do they have her on antibiotics? That sounds like infection.
Yeah, antibiotics and she's infected too. And it's weird because it's fuzzy. She's growing hair out of it. But I mean, so I
might not be hair, buddy.
She's a werewolf, but then again, she's also Italian, and that
could be part of the infection.
Of course. Yeah. So, so she's but yeah, she's starting to feel better. So thank you for coming on with us, Lola. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. All right.
We'll see ya.
There she goes. All right. So yeah, I really think that she needs to get that looked at a little bit more. She won't go back to the hospital though. She said she's not going back. She refuses.
We need to enlarge this picture and take a look. What's on that back billboard back there?
That is
tarot cards.
Looks like a CD
of various stickers and patches that Ryan has collected at different cons and different art shows. Like the large one with the horse is a picture of a Link from the Legend of Zelda. Here he's riding the horse. The hammer is up in the corner there. That's from the wall. Just like a lot of various different things.
Cool.
That's cool. Did you go get food? Is that?
No, I had to freshen up my gin and tonic.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's all just stuff I've collected from cons, different cards, all sorts of things from various artists.
Yeah, I usually stick them up here above my head. So.
And I see you got a poster behind you, Michael.
Yeah, that's the Nuka-Cola girl from Fallout.
Yeah. Which and then Randy's got, but I just got all you guys' comics behind me. I don't know if anybody ever notices this, but those comics change periodically behind me. I'll move some, change them around.
Yeah, so do mine.
Yeah, just to kind of put new indie books up there. So are you guys? What are your next shows? What are you guys planning on doing this for the rest? I mean, we're ending this year. You guys got any shows left this year? Anything?
So the one thing that changed since the last time I was on is I'm going to be doing the Monster Jam at the MoCAD, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be January 24th.
Okay.
So what's cool about that is there's going to be a bunch of artists for 3 hours doing live drawings,
Mhm.
and they're going to be auctioning them off and selling them, and all the proceeds go to help fund the museum and keep it running.
Awesome.
So I'll be
That's great.
performing there, drawing live, and so on. But nothing announced yet. But I probably will be doing a couple shows to get Nomads 2 out
Mhm.
and Motor City Mo. But I'll definitely talk with you guys again.
Cool. And then Simon says he needs to get himself a rack like Randy. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a rack like Lola. I'm sorry, I didn't say that, but
Simon, they just had one up on here on Facebook for like 150 or $200.
yeah.
That was almost the exact same rack. Only I'm willing to wager it doesn't squeak as good as mine. I got that old drugstore squeak.
Michael, what's your next show?
I think the only ones I'm going to be doing next year are probably Bubba Fest in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Indie Comic Con. But I'll try and have a booth if I have product to sell by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already got the posters for the campaign in this stack back there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So I'll have some stuff.
I thought that was a lampshade.
No, yeah, that's
Look like
actually
a
the
lampshade.
that's actually the plastic bags I'm going to be bagging the posters in.
Mhm. So he will be using boxes, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think he'll be using WCBS format for his
No.
I've got a good source of mailers.
Yeah.
That I'm
Stamp
going
the
with.
back and mail.
I
I was telling Varian last week I want to do a comic like that now intentionally in that format, and then offer a higher tier for a better quality book. Just print it in newsprint, ship it out to people, let them fold it up, stuff it in the mailbox.
guaranteed
That'd be great.
to get to you.
Just like the old days,
Yeah.
Good luck on getting your back when they were doing fanzines and appas that they'd staple together, or put two staples up on the other side of the spine, and
Mhm.
put an address label on the back of it and ship it out.
Good luck getting your book.
I'm
I
sure
got a
there's
question
not
from
even a market for that kind of format anymore.
question from IndieVolt Radio. This is from someone in. Okay, yeah,
Where the hell is that place?
yeah. Well, I had to look. No, they're in Japan.
Latveria. Here we go. Yeah.
Have you guys given any thought to signing a deal? Any of you guys signing a deal with a young up and coming video game programmer? Anybody giving any thoughts to that?
Michael?
I had actually at one point had outline for how I'd turn the story of Seven Legions into a game.
Mhm.
So I mean, if we could find someone to do the art, to do the art files and like 3D models or whatever,
Mhm.
and if it could be programmed in a gameplay style that would fit the story, I mean.
I don't know if I ever considered that myself. I mean, I probably would consider it, definitely. I mean, I'm indie. I would like to give someone else an opportunity if they think they can do something with my property to make a good game. And as long as it's going to be released, they're not going to go to crowdfunding and, say,
Spend
hey,
75% of the money on concerts and other and bills. Yeah.
man, you got to.
I'm interested in creating like a tabletop game
Mhm.
or like an RPG, definitely. But with all things, like I would need to see your portfolio. I'd need to see what you've made already.
Yeah.
Especially if it was something based on like our properties.
Mhm.
Definitely. Especially like myself, I'm pretty protective with Nomads. I like to keep that my own thing.
Mhm.
So we definitely would have to see some sort of credentials.
And
Tim says he did. He's a 3D animator.
Yeah. I think that, matter of fact, Sam, I want to talk to Eric. Eric's been doing a lot of 3D printing and spamming us with his creations. Would you guys ever be? I mean, what would the perfect Nomads video game be for you guys? Side scroller or beat 'em up?
So side-scrolling beat 'em up, where you get to play as like Golden Axe style. So you get to ride giant wolves, mantises, fight a bunch of barbarians in the desert.
Mhm.
I mean, it would be dope. You could play as Hawk and Boar
And it would be perfect because Hawk would be your dexterity based, very fast, lots of combo attacks character, whereas Boar would be your just smashing people in a single hit, charging across the stage, but very heavy, slow walking speed kind of character. So there'd be like multiple play styles, certain enemies that only Hawk or Boar could kill, like there's an armored enemy and you have to break the armor with Boar before Hawk could jump on them and deliver the finishing blow. But I'm definitely thinking a side-scrolling beat 'em up like that.
We're gonna make a game. Decided.
Michael, what would your game be like?
Realistically, probably a tactical RPG.
Mhm.
Like, that's actually how I was thinking of making it when I was trying to make a game.
Mhm.
It would be like, just basic. You could probably even make it in RPG Maker, but if I had like a huge budget, probably something more like Skyrim. But that'd be a gigantic budget.
I have I know a couple game designers and one of them actually, well, he made a Last Call Comics. That's the name of the publishing company that I own. He made a Last Call Comics game. It is Sim says I have a game concept for Nat the Merc. I think that the game concept that he just made a Last Call Comics game, which is on the app that I'm getting ready to launch for Last Call Comics. But the app is kind of fun. The game is kind of fun. It's a memory game, and it's like if you're drunk, and it's kind of fun. But I have another game designer who I say, look, I want you to just rip off Mario Brothers. Make a Mario Brothers like one level game with our little mascot Tipsy the gnome, trying to make it from one end of the board to the next. And he was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And I should have known that he wasn't going to do it because the demo he sent me was Tipsy trying to drive, and like he's trying to get home, but he's clearly drunk, and all the controls are inverted. And I'm like, this is fun, but am I sponsoring drunk driving? And I'm like, at the time, I think Tipsy was in the paper, Randy.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I could see a Tipsy Mario Brothers type game with little taps, and you catch a mug, you fill the tap up with the liquid, and then it's like a super powered shell that you slide along the bottom of the of the board and knock things over for a while.
You guys
That'd be cool.
remember Yoshi's World? There was Eat Fuzzy, Get Dizzy.
Yeah.
Where you hit the fuzzballs and Yoshi gets all dizzy and.
Question for. Okay. Now this is from Gloria. She's from she's from Seattle, Washington. She is listening on iNDIEVOLT Radio. Hello, Gloria. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening,
She
Gloria.
wants to know what's the best con that we have ever done, best convention.
Oh, that again, you have to define best, what you consider that to be, because I've done cons that have just been knock down, drag out fun, and I've made no money at, and other cons that I made a ton of money at that weren't very much fun at all. So you really would have to define, my best take at a con was a Wizard World Chicago with the Spank, the monkey #1, after it had been listed in Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
On the edge, and we sold a lot of product there at cover price and made pretty good bank. There have been there was another Chicago show that I went in just not expecting nothing and just banked really hard, and it was an oddball show too, so it's so spotty, and this was before the Wizard World shows in Chicago. I sold a couple pieces of original art and did a bunch of sketches and walked out of there with a nice amount of cash.
I think for me, it's been first of all, I'm probably going to be the lame one here and say that I still like my hometown show, Motor City Comic Con. And I think that I make so much there in terms of money because my expenses are a lot lower than they are if I'm out of town. I don't have gas. I don't have a lodging. I can eat at home or, stop somewhere that I know locally. So I am, I'm partial to that show. Outside of that show, though, taking that out of the equation, I used to do really good at Wizard World Chicago. I haven't been to that show in I want to say 3 years now, and I keep hearing things are getting worse and worse and worse. And it's probably because I'm not there. I mean, honestly, they found out I'm not there. There's no need to do that.
Not bringing the fans in, huh?
Yeah. I'm not there to bring the fans in. I'm sorry, guys.
He owns stock.
yeah,
owns stock in Wizard.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this show. Years ago I got stock in Wizard
Magazine again.
Yeah, I wish they would bring back a magazine. I wish they would, but I got stock in Wizard World, and I was very happy. And then I started watching the stock, and watching it, and let's see. 1 second, Alexa, have Sam Jackson tell me the stock report for WIZD.
Listen, I know this technology is amazing, but nothing is perfect. I just don't know that one.
Okay, so he doesn't know that one, but she will. Alexa, stock report for WIZD.
I could not find a station named WIZD.
I didn't see a station. Okay, yeah. Anyway, no,
That's where all the hits are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like 8 cents. It's been sitting at 8 cents for the better part of a year now, and people keep telling me they haven't done their reverse split yet, but when they do, that's when I can sell and get out. Sim
And the
says
stock will be worth 16 cents.
Sim says, remember those games where we could follow a story and pass from a fighting mode to racing, adventure mode, and flying a spaceship, like playing a comic book? That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
He also says CG Jumpstart is coming. It will be better than Wizard. I think that like I'm planning on doing a couple things, but one of the things that I like about our industry is that we have found ways to adapt outside of Wizard. I remember Frank Miller taking a copy of Wizard and throwing it in the trash can on stage. Remember that?
Ripped it. Didn't he rip it? Or
Yeah,
did he just toss it.
He said this is like the worst poison in our industry and ripped it or something. And anyway, it ended up in the trash can and it made headlines like Frank Miller destroys issue of Wizard.
Well, he also fought DC and kept them from doing any kind of a rating system, which I think would have really helped the quality of the product at the time. This was 20, 30 years ago, though.
And I guess I should ask you guys. It's a little controversial, but there's a lot of people, and you got gin and tonic, so you might be a little loose lip now. Steve, be prepared to hit the mute button on him.
We have the TV 14 up.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about? There's a lot of people at least on my Facebook, who are very vocal about the comics industry right now. They feel that characters are being misrepresented. There's people who feel that the characters are being represented enough. Have you guys run into any issues with diversity in your books at all? Like, how come there's not a lot of black characters or a lot of Asian characters?
No,
nothing like that.
No,
Mike?
Not really.
Yeah, Michael, you run anything?
I haven't had anything said about that, but I mean, I do it naturally. I just like there's one character. She's actually on the print by Pablo. She's vaguely like darker skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just sort of, the problems that Marvel and DC are having is that they're just like coming up with putting these characters in and just like doing like cookie cutter versions, like cookie cutter characters for that demographic, and it's just like like genius 8-year-old with Minnie Mouse poofs for her hair. Like
I tend to like I've said before that indie comics have our biggest weakness is that we're indie comics. Our biggest strength is that we're indie comics. We can do things that that the mainstream can't do because they got corporate masters. But when I look at a book like I think the biggest for me, my son loves comic book characters. He doesn't care what color they are, as long as they're written well. And he enjoys them, so he can see himself under Hawk's mask without Hawk ever having to take the mask off. He can see himself, as unfortunately Spank,
See,
As Randy's character, Spain.
I come from a generation that identified with a toaster, a baby long necked dinosaur, and a mouse. So, like people saying like, oh well, I need to see my exact demographic represented. No, you don't. You just need to learn to identify with the character's struggles and have characters who struggle, so you can identify with them.
I think if that logic held, like, you wouldn't have so many people of multiple races and backgrounds who relate to characters like Naruto and Goku and just other anime protagonists who were created by other creators who were not even from your culture or region of the world.
Yeah.
Like, there's a shared part of the struggle of the human experience that everyone can relate to and empathize with, especially when it's done well, it's crafted well, and it's done with respect.
Ralph says, he says, I never cared much about much but good fun fantasy adventure stories in 1 or 2 issues at a price that is affordable. Yeah, and I think that's what it really comes down to. I mean, I got a black character. I got black characters in my comic. I think, you know, they just happen to be there. I wasn't trying to make any social statement. They're just, there they are. I got white characters. I got Asian characters. I've got gay characters. And I feel that we talked about this on the show before, but sometimes I feel that we get. I don't know. There's this saying, if you can't get a job, make one. We were joking on the show a couple of months back about sensitivity readers, and we actually got an email from a guy who was pushing himself as a sensitivity reader. What he'll do for $50. Well, $50, you send him your script, and he reads it, and he sees if you, and he tells you if you
tells you how many times he was triggered.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Oh, you didn't represent this character right, or you had a character with disability in there, and you should do this for this character. So he's a sensitivity reader. His thing is basically to pilot you out of those murky waters where you could possibly offend someone. $50 a script, mind you. Michael's laughing already. He's got a big grin on his face. Will that be something you guys would ever? We at the time we said no, absolutely not. What would you guys, Michael? Because you had the biggest grin. Sensitivity reader. Were you hiring one, or?
I would, if I did, it would be to say, all right, how many times has this how many times has this guy been offended, and how can I raise that number?
You would find it a challenge, then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like, see that, like, I'm working with Pablo Romero. He's doing the art on my book. He's done a lot of art that has highly offended people, and it actually gained him a ton of followers from that. He did a redesign of Captain Marvel, very skimpy, large chest. And yeah, he had a bunch of people have a meltdown at him, and the whole time that was going on, I was like, hey, check out our book we're doing together.
You know, here's the thing. I love Brie Larson and Scott Pilgrim. She was, you know, I mean, her character was cool. I thought she was gorgeous. You know, Captain Marvel. How about you guys? Do you would you ever consider hiring? And since you're, I mean, I guess it's maybe close a question that Steven should answer. But Steve, do you ever consider, like, would you ever consider a sensitivity reader? Are you looking to piss people off?
Not necessarily. What I would really look to is more like my friends. Like when I was writing Andreas for Hey Festus for Forge, I asked Ryan, like, is this a good portrayal of a Latin character? Does this offend you? Just like if I were writing a black character, I would probably ask you, Varian, if the portrayal of the black character were correct. But the problem, especially with the internet being a thing, is that eventually you'll run into somebody who's sensitive enough that they'll be offended. And I wouldn't say I go out of my way to offend people, but I think good art has to be, you have to take the risk of offending people. And a lot of people are going to be offended just because you have an opinion on something and it's not theirs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's all about what do you consider to be reasonable? What do you consider to be right? And me, as far as sensitivity goes, if the people I know and love don't look at me or think I'm a monster, I'm doing good. Now, if like communism is great, like 26 thinks I shouldn't have the right to say this, that's another thing entirely. But if you start messaging me and are like, dude, are you serious with this character? That's gonna make me consider it a little bit more.
I don't think I would. Only thing I would do is I would write in as where you're going with this. But the thing is, like, I had a friend of mine. I won't name him because he probably doesn't want to be named. But he got a coloring gig and he messaged me. He says, "Actually, can I call you? I don't want to write this." And I'm like, "Sure." So he calls me on the phone. He's like, "Look, I'm coloring." He's a white guy. He says, "I'm coloring a black character, and I know that normally if I'm coloring a white character, the guy is jumping out of a window and he's got a bathrobe on. He's barefoot, and I don't know how to color the other side of his palms or his feet because I know that you guys have the different colors. What should I do?" And he was honestly very afraid, and I think very worried how that would be perceived. And I'm like, "Look, I've just seen artists just do it just one color. They don't bother with the changing shades on our hands. They just, okay, it's gonna be all be brown." Then I've seen some artists go and do it and very subtle, maybe make the side a little bit lighter. My son says that's his white side, by the way. He says that that's his white side. That's how he knows he's mixed up. The kid needs some more biology lessons. But I think that isn't it sad sometimes that's what we come to. We come to people being afraid to even try things artistically for the risk that they might offend someone.
I think that if you're asking yourself that question and you're even considering it, then you're probably far ahead of the people who are just doing shit to be like offensive and to belittle other people. I think also in terms of like my book in general, like I'm going to tell the story that I'm familiar with, that I know, and I wholeheartedly encourage anyone else who feels like they have a different perspective to tell their story too. In whatever means they need. Now, I don't think Marvel is necessarily the answer, right? I don't think it's on Marvel. I think that, if Marvel can't change up or they don't want to change up or they, their fans don't want them to change up, like it's up to, I guess, the readers on whether or not they want to keep reading it. Like really just like if you don't agree with the book, you don't like it, just don't buy it. Like the book doesn't have to change to you. And as an artist, like I don't think anyone has the right to tell me how to draw or what to draw. But at the same time, I think like everyone else, they have every right in the world to make their story and put that out there.
I think Ralph brings up a good point here is that I'm one of the people, I believe there needs to be room for escapism in the world. Like it doesn't need to be all escapism or all super serious political allegories all the time, but you need to have a spectrum of it because sometimes I do want to read that super serious political allegory, but other times it's the end of the day. I've been at work for 10 hours. I just don't want to get into that right now.
And for our radio listeners, Ralph Griffith posts and says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there." For our radio listeners, Ralph Griffith says, "For me, it's all about escapism. I want something that teleports me away from the shitstorm that is the world we struggle to live in, and I do not want to be angst to death."
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, sometimes you just want to, get away from, you've been watching. I mean, Alexa here constantly gives me updates. Hey, you got to read this shit. She doesn't say that, but Jackson voice will. But she will tell me, there's constantly, even on the news, YouTube, there's guess what just happened, and so you do get really tired of hearing. And I think comics can be a great tool for escapism, but people want to bring the real world into it, and that's a bit of a problem. Ralph says, "You're always going to have a cup of haters in about everything you do or say." Cup of haters.
That's true.
I also think like we're in a golden age of comics, man. Like anyone with an email address can make their comic, put it on Webtoons, and put it out there for people to read.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that like it's impossible. Like I could see this argument more back in the day when like there were like the gatekeepers were the say all end all be all, but like anyone can make a comic. Anyone can just post on Facebook. Anyone can just post on any service that's free, that's up. I mean, you just need to be a little resourceful, and you can get your story out there. And if it resonates, it's going to be popular. If people resonate with it, they're going to read it.
I think it's been that way even before social media. That a lot of these artists who really want to have their voice heard in sequential art just went out and did it. You know, that's why you had this great underground movement for such a long time. And most of even before the comic shops popped up, you'd see them in adult bookstores and head shops and that kind of thing. There was some incredible stuff out there.
Basky and the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers and stuff like that.
Well, Basky really wasn't part of the underground comics movement, but yeah, Freak Brothers, Mr. Natural, Robert Crumb, Spain Rodriguez, those kind of books. There's just some incredible voices out there that were, and a lot of times they were pushing some really taboo subjects.
I think that Randy had to bring me up to date with the Fabulous Freak Brothers, but I did recall them, but I never read a book. So
one of these days he'll get a cartoon.
Yeah,
just a matter of time.
Let's see who else says. Sim says we all bleed red and breathe oxygen. Being offended is relative. That what will offend one will not another. Yep. Ralph says I do like pushing the envelope as a creator, flipping stereotypes and pushing friendships through the hard times. Yeah. And Simon says Steve Hughes is a great piece about being offended and PC culture.
Yeah.
And I think that eventually we will all figure out what we have to do to not or we'll stop caring, because there's always going to be someone over there in the corner saying, hey, I don't like Michael's book because he has those characters with wings, and that's I like I'm part of the avian protection culture, and the Alien Protection League, and you killed birds in your book, and actually, you guys both. Hey, you got wings. You got a hawk head. Hey, you guys don't like birds very much, do you? There's no. I don't think there's any avian protection society, but if there was,
come on, Peter.
Yeah. Also, let's see here. Last question from iNDIEVOLT Radio. Randy, when your new book that you're working on, Randy, you're not going to announce it yet, I guess.
No.
But when are you expecting to see that done?
When it's done, I don't know. It all depends on what. I mean that I don't mean that to sound as snobby as it came out. I don't want to announce anything because I'm still working on it, and it's been changing. I just got a good focus on it, and I'm starting to get a good handle on the on the finishes now, and I'm just going to work on it as crazy as I can through the winter, and hopefully we'll do a crowdfunding campaign about April, maybe late March, and get that rolling. But when I do, you're definitely going to know about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it here, and I'm hoping it'll be unique enough to get the attention of a lot of different people that are going to really want to read this book, because it's just going to be I'm having a ball with it right now, writing it and drawing it, and I hope that's going to come through when we go to sell it.
So, Randy, are you planning on printing it, or are you going to also put it online? Are you thinking about?
I'm going to self-publish it. I'm going to crowdfund it.
Oh,
because I want to get it out there. It's not a book that I'm expecting Diamond to jump on, but I really want to crowdfund the heck out of it, and I think it's got a lot of potential that to really kind of make a mark.
Yeah.
And what do you think? You know what it is, Varen. You think it might? What?
I think I think that your book being crowdfunded is probably best. And I wanted to mention that too, because why we got these guys, we talked about it earlier. We touched on the difference between the publisher and the studio, and I think that a lot of guys who come in the business and They immediately get a publisher, and they have a publisher that believes in them. You know, you got to remember too. Randy and I made a joke a little bit was earlier this week or last week, maybe late last week, where you know sometimes I think that you need to go out there and self-publish a book.
Mhm.
And
yeah, I think everybody should, and that's part of the fun right now of following a lot of these campaigns, and it's also the problems that we're running into with the questions that we had today of people going out there and just making the stupidest stumbly mistakes that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So is Bendis a dirty word around here?
No.
No. There's a lot of creators aren't going to be dirty words, but you might see us choke and have to go off air for a while we cough a lot. Yeah.
What I was going to say
all depends on who we're talking about and in what context. Everybody has their place.
Has a good piece of advice, which a lot of people agree on, is that if you want to make comics, you got to make comics. You probably have to self-publish 4 or 5, 6 books before somebody from Marvel or DC or Image is going to look at what you're doing and think you have what it takes to deliver the goods at that level.
Well, I think it's really obvious now, especially if you take a look at the mainstream, the talent. Well, let's use the air quotes. The talent that a lot of Marvel and DC are using are there long enough to get their butts kicked, and they end up at a lower publisher in order to try to get an IP property out, because they're hoping just to use comics as a stepping stone and get the heck out and get into TV or Netflix or wherever they're going to go. But I think the day is here now that the mainstream, or what we consider to be the mainstream, Marvel and DC, really not that important anymore unless you really have to work on a specific IP. If you grew up desperately wanting to write or draw a Batman book, you better do it now, and you better push and get it done now, because in 5 years and 10 years, you might not be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And even in DC, in 2 years, you won't be able to write Bruce Wayne. It's not going to happen. You won't be able to write Hal Jordan. You won't be able to write Diana Prince or Arthur Curry. They're going to be gone, and they're going to be reserved up into a black label area that's saved for what the mainstream companies consider to be the demigods, the guys that they know are going to make hard money. There will be the ones allowed to play with those toys. You go down here and play with the little teeny bopper character that is pretending to be that icon.
I'll play with Plastic Man. That sounds dope.
Man, nobody should play with Plastic Man.
Well,
I'm afraid Varian and I have these discussions all the time. There needs to be there needs to be moratoriums on a lot of these characters, just so that they can come back and be fresh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Steve?
Well,
Sorry.
what I was gonna say is, I think Randy brings up a good point about that. I also think he brought up a good point earlier about Diamond and the distribution model, because to me, those are the problems with Marvel and DC. Not like SJW writers or whatever you want to say about that, but like it's their distribution model is so outdated and just does not work with the way comics are made and distributed anymore. It's also like selling single issues, like that whole business model of single issues. To me, we're the binge watch generation. Like to me, a single issue, especially if half of the book is ads and stuff like that, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get the trade with the extra special like rough sketches and scripts or whatever they have in the pack, because it's just a better deal. And that's the reason I think manga outsells comic books even in America. It's just because a manga volume is just a much more substantive book with a better price point if you're talking like cost per page.
Don't mistake the medium and the distribution and the what the retailers can and cannot sell for the conditioning that's been happening the last 10, 20, 30 years. Because a lot of these books now, especially and again, I'm using those air quotes for everybody on iNDIEVOLT radio, mainstream, are intentionally going through and trying to recondition the reader, and the reader does not want it. And what the reader doesn't want, they don't pay for. So all of a sudden, these numbers are dropping through the floor. So you go back, you go back to where comics were selling a lot, and you'll see a completely different style of product. And it's not that the reader's attitude has changed. It's not that they've suddenly overnight become the MTV generation where they need short spurts or they want to binge on long spurts. It's because the quality of the product is not there for them to want to invest.
But
And
how many times can you write a fucking Batman story? I mean,
that's an awesome question.
Like, how many times?
That's true.
At what point do you get? It's like, all right, we're done. Like, we've seen so many of this. We've had so many reboots. We've had so many crises on so many Infinite of Earths. I mean, to be frank, I'm just kind of bored of it. Right? I love the art. I'll look at the art depending on what it is. But
you also have to look at how the genre has been metamorphosized over the years. It's really been evolved in a horrible wrong direction.
Yeah, nothing is a complete story. There was a series a couple years back called Spidey, where it was literally just villain of the week.
Yeah,
and they only did 12 issues of it and canned it.
Yeah.
And it was better than anything that was happening in the Infinity Gauntlet shit.
Yeah, I remember Spidey.
Yeah, during Infinity. That was
DC just recently reactivated Brave and the Bold that had single issue stories in it. They were amazing, absolutely incredible.
That's something I might be
didn't go anywhere, didn't sell anywhere, just quickly just disappeared. You know,
when it comes to Marvel and DC, trying to read those books, it feels like walking in on the middle of a conversation and having no idea what anyone's talking about.
Sure,
the lore has become, even with all the reboots and stuff like that were supposed to simplify things, the lore's as complex as biblical theology at this point. It's like it's so like
reading Leviticus to understand
like
the
you literally have to do homework on 5 other books to even know what's going on in the book you're actually reading.
But you're also trying to throw really hardcore realism into a hardcore fantasy genre. These superheroes weren't meant to be as realistic as they are today.
No, they want to punch Hitler.
The books,
in the
exactly,
war.
exactly.
War bonds.
They were used for propaganda. They were used to be whimsical. They used to be. That's again. You just mentioned Plastic Man as an awesome example.
Agree with you.
Plastic Man started out being incredible. I mean, Jack Cole was a damn genius, and everything, the artwork was on, the writing was on, but it was whimsical. It was fun. You could read it, and Plastic Man was stretching all over the place and becoming everything that your imagination could handle. Look at the old Captain Marvels that sold millions of copies, even after the World War. You don't see that kind of stuff around today. Every Captain Marvel has to be Shazam, and all of its magic has to make sense, and everything has to be in 6-issue stories so that you could do the big volume that they sell at Ollie's.
Steve, you said you disagree with what?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, because to me, like, I think there's a place for what Randy's talking about, but I do like the whole deconstruction of what if this fantasy trope or fantasy character were approached in a more serious way, like Swamp Thing being a plant person actually kind of sucks.
And I'm not saying there's not a place for that. Absolutely. I mean, Watchmen is genius. Swamp Thing is genius, but those books didn't sell. I mean, and they have their markets, and we've been conditioned to be that market now. But way back when things were sold at the drugstores, you didn't have that, and these characters were never taken that seriously. And yet you had great mythological level stories out there of good versus evil that kids my age used to eat up.
Mike, what were you going to say?
I was just saying this earlier today. Like, a lot of the problem comes from, like, they're trying to appeal to a new audience by throwing the old audience under the bus. It's like, if you're going to try to appeal to a new audience, that's great, but make sure that you're keeping your old audience intact at the same time. Otherwise, you're just gonna it's just like taking a leap of faith. You could have more success that way, but there's a good, even better chance you're gonna fall flat on your face.
And in looking for that new audience, they're literally throwing the entire art form and the manufacturing system in America under the bus. That's why you have this huge amount of anime and manga that are out there now, is because over in Japan they never did that. I mean, that you would have books that were like that, but you had a full variety, just a complete mixture of genres. And now look at what they're doing. Who knew 10, even 5 years ago that you would see My Hero Academia, making such a huge mark over in Japan and in the States. It's a superhero book, but it's a whimsical superhero book. And as far as I've seen of the property, though I've never sat and read every issue of it, it doesn't take itself seriously.
It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it still has heart. It still has themes. It still has moments that have emotional weight and gravity to them.
All of those things that used to be in those books, even back after the Comic Code Authority kicked in.
But I think one thing to address what Michael said is that you are true that they're kind of like disregarding the old audience for the new one. But one thing is that the old audience wasn't really there anymore either. Comic book sales figures have been declining like all throughout the 90s, all throughout the early 2000s, long before what's happening now was even an idea in anyone's head.
Right. And how did that all happen? It's because they got narrowed down in the 80s when Diamond decided to be the direct distributor. The direct distribution market sprung up, and they decided who their audience was by a couple of demographic studies that nailed down to mostly white males, 25 to 55, and that's exactly the product that they catered to for decades. And then that product got more and more realistic thanks to Watchmen and Dark Knight and everybody trying to chase that tail. And then they decided that they had to get more inclusive and more diverse, and went an entirely different direction to the detriment of the entire art form now, where the retailers are even in a worse shape than ever before, just trying to hang on.
And one thing they say about the way anime and manga was sold is that never happened in Japan. There's always been comics that were pretty much for women, like romance, slice of life style. There's always been comics that only appeal to young boys, only appeal to like teenage boys and stuff like that. They've always tried to have a diverse audience from the very beginning.
And I totally believe that's why manga's got such a foothold here in the States now. It's
they
because they do
void.
a variety.
Yeah, they filled the void.
Yes.
And I wonder if the American comics, they missed their boat? They missed their opportunity to recapture?
A couple of generations, yes. I think they completely blew it off, and then the attempts that they make in order to try to recapture that audience has been feeble. And a lot of and you'll see occasionally, a phenomenal breakout book like ElfQuest is a great example of that. That was not aimed at that demographic that made a ton of money. That they should have catered to, but the big guys, the mainstream, air quotes again, said, well, that's not our audience. Our audience is mostly male.
Exactly. That's why I love ElfQuest, is because ElfQuest is a perfect example of a book where if you pitched a fantasy epic like that as a comic, everybody would tell you it would never work.
But it did.
No one would stay long
Yes.
enough.
Yeah.
You couldn't do Lord of the Rings as a comic book. It would never work. But ElfQuest is, to me, like one of my favorite comics in general.
I think that's why it got passed around, because it turned into a vanity printing project. It ended up at Dark Horse. It was at DC. It ended up at Marvel. Everybody picked it up because they were like going, well, we got to aim for females because most of our books are, but those aren't the books that really sell, do they? No, let's turn around and do more books. Let's do more big boob books for guys.
They picked it up after they passed. Because
why not both?
As I understand,
I'm a very why not both kind of person.
From INDIEVOLT Radio, a guy asked for Michael and Steve, do you guys your books, when you're writing, do you actually have the end of your titles planned? You have the last story?
I have the conclusion to the story planned out. Yeah, I got a whole outline for it, but it's rough, but yeah, it's there.
I know what you mean. I have the end of my story done, but how I get there changes, and because how I'm getting there, changing, certain elements of the end have been modified. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, most of the time I know what the ending is before I start, because normally the ending, the climax, is the first like flash of inspiration you get, and you kind of build around that. But like, there are other stories where that will change, where you just imagine a scene and then you don't know what the ending is, and you find the ending. It can vary project by project.
Do you know the ending of the entire saga?
I think generally, if you're trying to build a whole saga, knowing how the saga ends and what you're building towards is a pretty good idea.
I know the ending of my book. I just do not know. Again, getting there keeps changing. Getting there, the road there is a long one. Hopefully, a long one. Hopefully, they give me an opportunity to tell a long story like that. Otherwise,
the road is long with many a winding turn. Huh?
Yeah. I want to catch up on Word Up Homies. That's from Larry Patrick Higgins. How you doing,
Hey, Larry?
I
saw he was in there earlier as Rebel.
Yeah, since they were also censored as hell with the comics code, referring to the comics. There's no more respect for the art and comics. And I actually, one other message that came from IndieVolt Radio, but the person that put their name was it America, and they're in France. America is the only country in which comics are advertised as a children's medium. That's why the artists aren't respected.
And that goes back to the conditioning of the media,
that
too.
Is sadly true. Comics are treated with a lot more respect in Europe. Tintin is something you'll see adults reading. There's a great European comic called Black Sad that just came out. Well, it didn't just come out. It's been coming out for years, but very clearly not something intended for children, but stuff like in terms of just the story, the art, just how detailed every single panel of that book is. It's incredible.
Yeah, Ralph sums it up in one big word: escapism.
It says one distributor, one big problem. Look at the diversity in the 80s. Incredible. It says the black and white bust, and one distributor stunted this industry for decades. Well, and I think it did. I think we're seeing an adjustment now, though.
I think you're seeing the whiplash of the rubber band is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Much to the detriment of the market, the art form, and the retailers.
Yeah, the rubber band. Milo Monero says Larry Patrick Higgins.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm hoping that you guys all get massive sales on your books.
Is there Michael has an Indiegogo that we need to promote?
Yeah, we will. He's got a 7 Legions, which I'll put it back up here on the screen for everybody, and I will include it in the video. Let's see here in the description. I'm gonna put it back up here on the screen so that everybody can go check it out and back it. It is a nice looking book, and
then Nomads is available up on Webtoons.
Yes, yes.
So there,
everybody should run up there and check that out. It's a good strip.
$4,319. He is in demand, so you can still get yourself a copy of the book. It's shipped. Have you shipped it yet? You haven't shipped it yet, right, Michael?
No. I'm so
concert tickets.
Yeah. Paying personal bills.
Yeah.
Code for weed.
I'm buying all the fulfillment supplies I can right now, but the books are going to be the last thing because well, for one, we got a stretch goal at 8,000. If we can reach that stretch goal, you'll be getting 3 books. So you'll be getting issue 3. And I'm just gonna have all 3 printed at once. Just so I can ship them together and have less shipping.
How long do you plan on your campaign being in demand?
Until the art on the last book is finished. Like if we only fund issue 2, we'll probably be done by March and ready to ship. But if we get issue 3, well, my artists do work pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like Pablo, he's already finished all his work on issue 2. I just got to color it. But Henry, he's still got pages, but he's got the drawn in tiers to draw. But yeah, we should have no trouble getting issue 2 done by March. But if we get issue 3 done, we might even still be done by March.
Cool.
Cool.
We got stretch goals open to do up to issue 5 with this campaign. So at the very latest, we'll be fulfilling in at the very latest June of next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you get this. You still have an opportunity to get this book. Check it out, 7 Legions on Indiegogo. I'm really making sure I don't say lesions.
Yes.
7 Legions.
Legions.
Yeah. I can't. You know what? I can't. The worst gym and like the name gym and the where you go play sports at. My wife gets mad at me because they sound exactly like when I say it, and so yeah, screw it. But you can buy it on Indiegogo currently, and it's gonna run it for a little while, so you still get time to get into that one. And of course, Attack of the Rivals. Attack of the Rivals. Now sounds like an old Capcom game. Attack of Rivals. Attack of the Rivals is much better. You guys you find your book Nomads on Webtoon.
Please subscribe to it. Please
subscribe
view
to it. As a matter of fact,
there.
a matter of fact, I'm going to subscribe
Like,
to it
comment, and
right now.
subscribe, all that good stuff.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm
And leave
subscribed to it.
feedback too. Tell us we suck if you want to. That's cool too. Any interaction's better than no interaction.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, you know, as long as you can hear somebody telling you, you guys suck. It's hey, yes, this guy says we suck. Everybody come look.
At least you read it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, he used the stamp and sent us this. And if you don't, guys, we're gonna start putting our juice in our printers. We'll sneak in.
Yeah.
No, we won't.
We'll change it to Salty Comics.
That's never gonna happen.
How about that? We saw that. We'll just start calling like That's Nuts Comics.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, like these nuts comics.
Yeah. And guys, where can we find you guys at online? Twitter, Facebook.
So you can find all my art. I have it in the little title here at Tavarez Art on Instagram. I post a lot on there. You can find me on Facebook. Same name, Art Tavarez. You can find us as Attack of the Rivals on Facebook, and you can find all of our stuff at tavarezart.com.
Yep.
Michael, where can we find you?
All right. I'm on YouTube as Michael Beacon. Should be one of the first few links to show up. I'm on Twitter at the number 7 Legions Beacon. And then I got the website 7legions.com.
Cool. And then we want to remind everybody here that if you want to send us questions about what you plan to put in your ink when you print your books, you can do so by mailing us at indievoltlive@indievolt.com. Please include IndieVolt Live in the subject field and keep those emails to 90 words or less.
Try to spell correctly.
Try to spell correctly because I'm not going to fix it. Also, thanks to everybody who listened to us on IndieVolt Radio tonight. If you didn't, well, why not? That's just crazy. You can take good old IndieVolt with you wherever you go. IndieVolt Radio is the perfect companion to our official website, indievolt.com. IndieVolt Radio plays the best in indie music, entertainment, news, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can hear music from talent like Chemicals, Park Squares, and Alleys, and Den's One. Download the IndieVolt Radio app on Android's Google Play Store or listen in with the streamer app on iOS. You can also listen to IndieVolt Radio by visiting the official indievolt.com site and utilizing the built-in player right there on the front page. And of course, you can listen to us live and messages. It's totally awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And then,
and hopefully, before you talk about the TV, hopefully between Christmas and New Year's, we'll do that special we keep threatening where we talk about some of those great comic properties from around the world.
Oh yeah, we definitely gotta do that at some point very soon. Also, we got IndieVolt TV. It's over the top streaming service available on Roku and coming very soon to Amazon Fire Stick and more. Stream independent movies, music videos, wrestling, original documentaries, and more on IndieVolt TV. And you should all know, be very excited to know that it is free. That's right, absolutely free. Find IndieVolt TV by searching the channel store on your Roku device or Roku-enabled television. And we just crossed over, I forget what it was, Randy. We just crossed over, I think, 4,000 installs.
Awesome.
On that on IndieVolt TV. So really excited. Yeah, thank you. We're really excited about that. those numbers are good. I'll take those. We got like 15 uninstalls, but screw those guys. Anyway, thank you guys. You guys are all welcome to come back whenever you want to shoot me links and hey, let me in there. That guy in there is talking, doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, we need to get Tony and Scott Rosema and even Sim back up online to catch up with them.
Anytime you guys want to come on and talk about your new books, you're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
Shoot me a message. Shoot
Always
Randy a
welcome.
message on Facebook.
That's what we're here for.
Is everybody friends with Randy? Shoot him friend request.
I've got Art, I think. It's a friend. So, yeah.
I think I see him come up in my recommended a lot, actually. So I have to friend him.
Like, who's that weirdo? No way.
He's always
He does a monkey?
Yeah, right. He does a what? He does a monkey.
And Michael, you're on Facebook, right?
I'm on. I've got a.
He doesn't remember.
Page for. I got a page for Seven Legions, but I keep my Facebook private. I don't even really use it all that much.
I'll just contact you on Twitter. I can always do that.
I just use it for memes and news myself. So.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us.
Don't forget the Zim Geek channel on YouTube. My next show, your next show, Variant, is January. At Wonderful New Orleans, right?
Yep, Wizard World New Orleans. I'll be down there.
Yeah, my next show is February at the Great Lakes Con down here in Warren. Then April 18th here in Flint, Michigan, I'm throwing a con. So a little one-day show at our farmers market up here.
Really?
April 18th. It's a lot of fun. It'll be our 11th one up here in Flint. Little one-day show just to knock around and meet people. It's a pretty informal show. Get about 13, maybe 1,400 through the door. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less.
Sounds great.
But it's a fun time.
Tables
Get some vendors up here. Yeah, table's $50. Admittance is $5. We take over the community room and half of the atrium and the upstairs whenever we have too many come by. My brother builds Star Wars droids that he runs around the market all day, and it's just people cosplay, and we have a little cosplay contest. It's a lot of fun. A lot of comic vendors.
What's the name of
a
that
lot of artists. Flint Comics Con.
Sweet.
Yeah, you can find the website is Flint Comics Con too for X.
Yeah, Flint Comics is on Facebook, though I don't post up there very often because we stopped printing at issue 100. So
yeah,
but you can always find me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter under Randy Zim with 2 M's.
Yeah,
and like I said, Zim Geek channel, which I keep hoping to put more content up, but I've been working on this book instead. So,
guys, I want to again thank you for coming on the show and talking with us, and I want to thank our viewers for checking us out.
Yeah.
You guys, we will see everybody back here Thursday morning. Me and Randy will be back at 9 a.m.
Larry and Sim and Ralph, we'll see you then. Thanks for being in the chat.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna roll the bumper and go off air, but if you want, you can hang out afterwards. We'll talk to everybody soon. Until then, have a nice, warm December.
Thanks for being here.